Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for being here as always. And here's a weird video. This is actually more of a test for a lot of different things. Number one is I want to test out my new mic setup and everything like that. I've actually already tested this whole driving in the car with the GoPro thing once before, but the onboard microphone on the GoPros are garbage. And yeah, so I got a Rode Video Micro and a shock mount and an adapter and all that kind of stuff. I now have that hanging like crazy off the windshield, off on the passenger side of the car. And I just wanted to kind of test and see how well that works. I wanted to see how well this new microphone cancels out audio or background audio like road noise and all that kind of stuff. What else? Also, I really wanted to try out this sort of format of video. I'm a big fan of Ken Knapsack and, you know, Jennifer Wanda obviously too as well, and Joseph Scrimshaw over at the Force Center podcast. And Ken Knapsack does a show on that podcast feed called Spotlight Star Wars. And I really appreciate that format of a show. It's very much just him monologuing about Star Wars for 20 to 40 minutes. And I want to do that too. I want to have a place to just shove all of my random little Star Wars thoughts that that don't really merit their own video, if you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't make much sense for me to do that. It doesn't make much sense for me to sit there with a video camera in my office and everything like that. And this also allows me the opportunity to work on content while I'm on my way to work or while I'm on my way home from work. On the way home from work, not so much, especially once the winter months come and everything like that, because I usually get off of work in between 4:30 and 6:30 in the morning, and, you know, lighting and everything like that. But at least on the way to work, I'll always have daylight. It's 5:30 my time right now, 5:30 p.m. And yeah, this is a good place for me to just dump all of my Star Wars-y thoughts. All my little random things that just don't quite merit their own video. And I've been thinking about a lot of stuff right now regarding Star Wars. Probably the biggest thing that I want to touch on is... Give it a second. Well, I'm accelerating to attack speed! Well, okay, kind of, because there's a Buick in front of me. Take that as you will. But anyways, the biggest thing that I want to touch on is... Really? Okay, 10 miles under the speed limit. Cool! Sounds good. Anyways, biggest thing I want to touch on for the third time now is Star Wars Celebration. And why am I so damned obsessed with it? Seriously, guys, I am... something has snapped in my brain. Like, I've always been one of those single-tracked... or rather, I'm one of those people who laser focuses on one thing. I have an obsessive personality, but I also have a very single-tracked mind once I get onto a subject, or once I get onto an obsession. To the point of it being even a little bit unhealthy. Like, I'm not going to sleep when I should some nights because I am up late on Google Street View wandering around Chicago because I want to get, you know, refamiliarize myself with the city, and I want to get comfortable with the city again after being gone for so long. Some of you guys might know this already. I live in south central Wisconsin, around the Madison area, and I was originally born and raised in Chicago. I lived in Chicago up until I was 10 years old. Bounced back and forth. This is a big bit about Chicago culture. If you're not from the city, you're not from Chicago. Okay, fine. I spent a lot of my time out in the burbs. I was living I lived out in Elk Grove Village and Schaumburg and Palatine and northwest suburbs. But my dad did live in the city. And I spent every other weekend with him as a kid, going over to his house. Even some other weekends too. I would spend time with him. And I still go down there to visit him, not as often as I'd like, but the point is that Chicago feels like home to me. Don't get me wrong, I love southern Wisconsin, and there's a multitude of reasons why I'm never going to move back to Chicago. Chief among which is, Morgan, the love of my life. Bottom line is, I'm not moving back to my hometown because, well, I met a girl. And that girl means a lot more to me than the city of Chicago does. And Morgan wouldn't be happy in Chicago, I don't think. I've already acclimated to living someplace that I'm not super happy. Not that I'm not happy, but I'm not like, I'm so happy I live in South Central Wisconsin. I just, I live in South Central Wisconsin. I got a good paying job, and okay, the infrastructure's there, I guess. Okay, I'd be much happier living in Chicago, sure, but yeah. Anyways, one of the reasons why I've had to kind of go on this sort of journey of self-discovery to figure out, why am I so damned obsessed with Celebration? And I think that there's a multitude of reasons. Number one is that, chief among which, is that, or rather, probably the best segue, is simply the fact that it's in my hometown. It's where I feel at home. I feel the most at home on an L train station. I feel the most at home walking down Lake Street. I feel the most at home, going into a Dominic's or a Jules, rather than a Woodman's or a what is it called? A Rowdy's or a Cops, like what we have up here in Wisconsin. And I'm so excited to be back in my hometown for a week. Like, we're going down Tuesday, probably, right now the plan is going down early Tuesday morning, and then leaving Tuesday late morning. So we'd be leaving here at about 6 o'clock in the morning, up here in southern Wisconsin, getting into the city at about 8 or 9-ish, on Tuesday morning before the con. Spend all day Tuesday just refamiliarizing myself with the city, getting used to using public transit again, scouting out the convention center, what's the best bus routes and stuff to take, what's the best L trains, what's the L train schedule, and all that kind of stuff. And then Wednesday, we're planning on basically welcoming in all the friends that I've met through doing content creation and through being part of the Star Wars online fan community. Like, there's a good chance that me and Glenn are going to be meeting up. Me and Ben might be meeting up on Wednesday. There's chances of meeting up with Alex for the first time, which would be incredible. Alex and Molly over at Star Wars Explained. There are chances of me meeting up with, who knows, maybe I'll meet other friends over the next 9 months, and we might end up meeting up on Wednesday. And then as a group, I kind of want all of us to go around and, get all of our B-roll footage for all the vlogs and go out to dinner and all that kind of stuff. And I'm looking forward to doing that because it's in my home city of Chicago. I look forward to being a resource for people that are visiting, my friends that are visiting. In addition to that, I'm looking forward to spending time with people that I've only ever talked to on the internet, that I've only ever talked to through Twitter DMs and through Google Hangouts and Skype calls and all that kind of stuff. And I look so forward to meeting these people face to face and sitting down at Illuminati's and having a conversation about maybe not even Star Wars. Maybe we'll end up on a conversation about Battlestar Galactica or Star Trek or something, or Lord of the Rings or whatever, right? And I so look forward to doing that. I'm so looking forward to that. That's the biggest thing about Celebration, is finding what makes is finding the people that you know from the internet, or just meeting new people in lines. It's the socializing. It's a convention. A convention is a grouping of people that that share an interest, and you get to do this with all these people, and it's amazing. It's so good. It's so exciting to know that in 9 months' time, I will be sitting down to have dinner with Glenn. I will be sitting down. I will be going and meeting up with the Star Wars Underworlds guys, Dominic, Ben, and Chris, and all them at their booth. I'm assuming that they're going to have a booth at Celebration. I will be hopefully meeting up with Katie and her partner. Can't remember if boyfriend or husband, but anyways, meeting up with my friend Katie and her partner, and I'm so looking forward to being able to have those shared experiences with people. And then I think the third and another massive reason why I'm so single-tracked obsessed with Celebration is, plain and simply, that we're going to be getting so much news about Star Wars. Right now, as much as I love Lucasfilm and Disney, and I think that Lucasfilm and Disney have done really good things so far regarding Star Wars. I think that they've made the right decisions when it comes to Star Wars. You might not agree with that, but the only thing that me as a Disney shill the only thing that I can really give them for constructive criticism is that the communication sucks. I'm sorry, but I get it that you don't want to announce something that might not end up happening, but you got to have a longer lead time on these projects then. Because right now, all that the Star Wars fan base, all that the YouTube channels, all that the podcasts, all that the everything has to talk about regarding Celebration or regarding Star Wars is Star Wars, The Last Jedi Backlash hate, and whether or not the unconfirmed things are actually unconfirmed, or whether or not they're semi-confirmed, or whether or not, is Lando going to be a thing? Is in Episode 9? Is what else is there? Is there a Boba Fett movie? Is there an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie? What about a Mos Eisley movie? What? Maybe the Mos Eisley movie was the Obi-Wan movie, but it had a code name but people were talking about it as a Mos Eisley movie because they didn't want people to, whatever. Right now, that's all we have to talk about, because sure, we know that there's a Rian Johnson trilogy happening. We know that there is a series of films coming from Dan and Dave, the Game of Thrones guys. We know that there's a Jon Favreau TV show that, depending on who you talk to, which article you read, is taking place sometime either 3 years after Return of the Jedi or 7 years after Return of the Jedi. And the only reason why we know the time frame for that project, the Favreau TV series, is because he mentioned something on the red carpet at Solo. That's all we know. We have no idea what Ryan's planning on doing, and we have no idea what Dan and Dave plan on doing. The first glimpse that we've gotten of the animation style for Resistance, a show that comes out in probably 3 or 4 months maximum, comes from some blurry cell phone footage or some blurry cell phone photo at a shareholders meeting in Paris or in France. And it's like, you need to communicate more, Lucasfilm. You need to communicate more what you're planning on doing. And I know that, especially with the Dan and Dave and the Rian Johnson stuff, we don't know what is going on with that, because the creators don't know what's going on with that. We just know, as of right now, Rian Johnson is just starting writing out and outlining his trilogy. I'm going to guess that Dan and Dave have signed a contract saying that they will work on something, but they still have Season 8 of Game of Thrones to finish. They've already finished filming Game of Thrones Season 8. but I'm very sure that they are very deep into, or very essential to the post-production for that show. And it's rough, man. It sucks. And we don't have anything else to talk about. So what we're doing is we're tearing each other apart in this weird fandom civil war. You know, about a month ago, the YouTubers started going at each other, you know, and then now the podcast community is starting to go at each other. You know, you got the Making Star Wars podcasts on one side, and then you got and their allies, and then you got the RFR, the Rebel Force Radio, and their allies on YouTube. You know, they're kicking and screaming at each other. For what it's worth, I land on Making Star Wars' side of that civil war. I land on the liberal SJW side of that civil war. But all that we're doing is screaming at each other because we don't have anything else to talk about. With that being said, no, Lucasfilm is not responsible for the rise of alt-right trollism and, you know, the greater cultural and social civil war that the United States especially is embroiled in right now. Like we're in a very tumultuous, I think is the right word, very tumultuous period in our country's history. Probably even it could escalate to the point of being as big as the civil rights movement back in the 60s and the 70s and everything. And like that's not Lucasfilm's fault, right? But the lack of information and the lack of being able to, like, I'm sitting here talking about it because there's nothing else to talk about right now. Like, sure, I could go back and analyze Empire Strikes Back, or I could, you know, do a Rebels, a retrospective, or whatever. But come on, man. Like, that's all we got. We don't have anything else. And it sucks. And all this is to say that because of Celebration, hopefully, we're going to get an understanding of what Episode 9 is about. We are going to hopefully get an understanding for what Ryan was working on. We're going to be starting to understand at Celebration what the Favreau series is going to be about. We're going to get book announcements at Celebration. You know, we're going to get all these things that we desperately have been begging for. You know, we all want this information. And it's just, man, it sucks. It sucks that we have to wait until Celebration. But that's why I'm looking forward to Celebration so much. Or at least another one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to Celebration so much. Is because we're going to be seeing these things, right? We're going to be finally getting all this information, and hopefully it will be another renaissance for the Star Wars fandom, where we can finally, you know, the moderates, the moderates inside of the Star Wars fandom can finally just start loving Star Wars again instead of arguing about Star Wars on Twitter and Facebook and Reddit and YouTube and in the podcast feeds. We can finally stop throwing crap at each other and maybe just start enjoying Star Wars again. And again, I just want to clarify that I do fall on the SJW side of things. And to be blunt, I feel like there's a lot more people on that side than there are on the other side of things. And listen, that's a big thing, is that, like, you know, this whole, is Lucasfilm attacking the fans? I don't think so. Because if you're posting racist, sexist bullshit on Kelly Marie Tran's Instagram account, you're not a Star Wars fan. And you guys know me. I don't like to, you know, use the whole, oh, you're not a real fan if crap. But you're not a Star Wars fan. I'm sorry. You don't get to be in the club. And, you know, when you're just posting toxic, nasty BS, you know, responding to every single one of Rian Johnson's tweets of, your movie fucking sucked. Sorry. You know, Rian Johnson, Chuck Wendig, not Calamari Tran, but, you know, all these people that are still around on the internet, all these Star Wars creators that people are saying, oh, they're attacking the fans and they need to be more professional. I'm sorry, but just hard disagree. Because if somebody tells somebody that they fucking suck and that they should, you know, go kill themselves for making such a terrible Star Wars movie, no, that person doesn't deserve respect. That person doesn't deserve professionalism. You know, they've made it clear on many occasions that they're not talking to people that just didn't like The Last Jedi. They're not talking to people who just dislike what Disney is doing, or that are unhappy with the fact that Star Wars Legends is actually Legends now. You know, they're not talking to you if you're one of those people. They've made it clear multiple times that they are not talking to you. They are talking to the people that are posting disgusting crap. And they have every single right on the planet to do so. I'm sorry. But that's not a stance that I'm going to change on. I pride myself on trying to keep an open mind. But on this, no. That's something that I don't think my stance will ever change on. You know, I was trying to make this a positive video. Talking about Celebration and being excited about Celebration. And I am. Really. I am so excited for Celebration. I am so ready for Celebration to come around. I am so excited to, you know, be in a amphitheater of, you know, 10,000 other Star Wars fans, or 6,500 Star Wars fans, depending on how they end up lining up the Wintrust Arena, how they end up setting up the Wintrust Arena. I'm so excited to be in that experience and have a Chewie we're home moment, only not so obsessive with the nostalgia, and we can be just excited to see the closing chapter of the Skywalker saga. I'm looking forward to, you know, meeting up with friends and other content creators, and being able to meet with these people and see what we're doing. I got to accelerate to attack speed again. Go on, buddy. There we go. Anyways, have to do this weird, crazy, roundabouty way to work now, because actually a good chunk of downtown, right along my route to work, a building exploded. It was a gas leak. It actually pretty tragic, but they're still picking up the pieces and clearing out everything and all that kind of stuff. So got a little bit of a longer commute, a little bit of a detour. But anyways, I'm trying to think. I know that there was another thing I wanted to talk about other than Star Wars Celebration. I'm certain of it. What was that other thing that I wanted to talk about? Huh. Oh, right. That was the other thing I wanted to talk about. I am thinking I'm going to do another The Last Jedi commentary, another film commentary on the channel. Kind of a 6 months later thing. I'm honestly not too happy with my previous one, personally. I feel like I didn't talk enough. I was too engrossed in the movie. And I feel like after watching it another dozen times or whatever I've done since the last time that I did that, since I did that commentary, I feel like I've got more of an understanding, and I've kind of delved deeper into the film and what Rian Johnson's thing is. I've seen more analysis being put forth by other creators and stuff like that. Like, there are certain parallels that people have pointed out that's like, wow, I didn't even notice that. And I want to be able to do that. So I think I might end up doing an additional or another commentary, like The Last Jedi 6 months later, now 7 months later now. We'll see. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd be interested in me redoing that and, you know, being able to be a little bit more, I don't know, concise in my thoughts and a little bit more focused in my thoughts and have kind of talking points that I wanted to hit on in each scene. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys are interested in that. There's another thing. Oh yeah, Lando. About Lando in Episode 9. I don't know what they're planning on doing with Episode 9, honestly. This is actually kind of more of a general, oh, Episode 9, what's it gonna be? Kind of thought, kind of speculate responsibly type thing. I'm hoping that Lando is a decent part of it, but I feel like they've already kind of passed all the torches to the next generation, which is kind of the whole point of this trilogy, is to pass the torch on to them and have them finish it. And I feel like this new generation, the Reys, the Kylos, the Poes, the Finns, the Roses, those characters they've reached maturity, as it were, with the end of The Last Jedi, and now it's about them ending this terrible war. You know, everything started off with that trade barricade, or that trade war, that blockade of Naboo 10 years before the Clone Wars, and that sparked off a number of incidents that keep reverberating onward. You know, that rolled into the Clone Wars rolled into the Rebellion, and the Galactic Civil War, and then that's rolling, and that's echoing into whatever they're calling this new war. The War of Resistance, or whatever you want to call it, here in the sequel trilogy, with the destruction of the New Republic and all that. And I'm looking forward to seeing, I want Episode 9 to be about the new generation putting all of that finally to rest. That isn't to say that they can't tell any stories after Episode 9, or that there isn't other things to be happening after Episode 9, but it's definitely a thing to have people in that, it's definitely a thing to end the Skywalker saga. You know, the next thing that happens after Episode 9 should be something that is kicked off by the actions of Rey, or kicked off by even the actions of somebody completely different, because Rey does have a link to that Skywalker lineage with Ben Solo, and you know, her relationship with Luke and everything in The Last Jedi. So I kind of feel like if they do pick up stuff, it can't be because of the actions of the Skywalkers. It can't be because of the actions of one of these legacy characters. You know, the legacy characters can respond to it, but it shouldn't be kicked off by those types of characters. And all of this is to say that the rumored Lando stuff makes me really happy, but I feel like my personal biggest fan, this is what I want. This is what I want. If it's not in the movie, I'll be really upset. Is I want, like, Mass Effect 3 ending. Like, Mass Effect 3 perfect ending. In Mass Effect 3, you kind of spend the entire game just rallying people to your cause. And at the end of the game, the big climactic battle is the retaking of Earth. And if you do it perfectly and you get all the factions on your side, like, you've got, like, you know, the Geth Ascendancy, or whatever it's called, the Geth reporting in, and, you know, the Turian Alliance reporting in, and da-da-da. You got these massive fleets all forming together to become this one massive, like, supermassive fleet of ships to take place in this massive climactic battle. And I want that in Star Wars. Like, how awesome would it be to see the remnants of the Separatists? Saying, standing by. How awesome would it be to have a 50-year-old Sabine Wren, sitting in a command chair on a Mandalorian cruiser saying, the Mandalorian clans are with you, Rey, or, whatever. And have this montage of all these different ships and all these people from all these different canon sources and all these different factions joining together, the free peoples of the galaxy coming together one last time to finally put an end to all of this pain and suffering. And that's what I want. And I feel like Lando would fit in perfectly as a slightly major player in that. He jumps in and says, maybe even bring in some legend stuff, like have him show up as the cavalry to save the day. Like the Riders of Rohan in Return of the King with the Black Fleet. How awesome would that be? Like, that's the reason why he didn't answer the distress call right away. He was off trying to find the Black Fleet. Like, he already knew that the Resistance needed help back during The Force Awakens. So he just did his thing, right? How awesome would that be? That would make me excited. That would make me really, really, really happy. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this video down in the comments down below. I'm actually in the parking lot at work. And yeah, let me know if you guys want me to continue this series. I don't know what I'm going to call it. Probably like Commute Ramblings or Just Ramblings or something like that. Lean really hard into my channel name, right? Into my personal branding, if you wanted to talk to a social media expert. Anyways, alright guys, I am pulling into a parking space and I gotta get into work. So, I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. And as always, may the Force be with you guys. Take care.